Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. 30 weeks of love streaming today. How about that? 30 weeks. 30 weeks of you coming into my home and me coming into yours. And I want to thank you. I'm Reverend Theresa Fieberts, and we have been live here all those 30 weeks, 30 Sundays, live here on Facebook and YouTube, and it's been a different journey than what I thought we were starting out to do couple years ago when we started this little project, but it's been wonderful. And as I said last week, I want you to know that I miss you. I miss seeing you in person. But I love technology. I love that we're able to continue to connect. I want to remind you, I'll remind you every Sunday until we get there, that November 15th, we're going to have our membership and friends meeting. Everybody is invited to join us. This is November 15th, Sunday, November 15th. We'll do it at 12:30 after the service. Give you a few minutes to go to the restroom, get another cup of coffee, or get your lunch, and come back, and we'll have a business meeting together on Zoom. And I'm looking forward to that. Science of Mind is a philosophy and a way of life that I have relied on for many years now. It teaches us to trust. It teaches us about trusting the creative process, about trusting the presence of a loving and creative intelligence, about trusting the fact that we can use that love, that creativity, that intelligence, that it's right here for us, and that it wants to express itself through us for greater expression. So we can change our thinking, change our lives. Most of you have probably heard that. Change your thinking, change your lives. And when we do that, amazing things happen for us. Amazing things. So I am looking for amazing things right now, amazing things to happen in our country. This is our first Sunday contemplative every Sunday since we started meeting. We've done a meditative type service on the first Sunday, and I look forward to these. Building our skills around spiritual practice is central to my ministry, to my life, and central to the Centers for Spiritual Living, to what we teach, to what we promote, is to commune with Spirit, to build a relationship with Spirit, one that goes with us wherever we are, you know? So it's very user-friendly universe once you get the habit of that. And so that's what we're looking to do this morning, and we're going to focus it around the country's presidential debates, presidential election, all our elections, down to our local elections and political concerns. Last month, we were talking about fears. Last week, we talked specifically around our fears for our country, the direction that some feel the country is going in, and that sort of thing. And so this morning is a perfect time for us to be able to relax into spirit, into what is, in a way that we are inviting its guidance. So again, spiritual practices today that we're going to be looking at: prayer, meditation, not looking at, experiencing. Prayer, meditation, contemplation, visioning. And I want to read this from Ernest Holmes, Dr. Ernest Holmes. It's found in the compilation book, The Essential Ernest Holmes. And he says, first, at home, in the silence of your own thought, let us heal ourselves of fear, of doubt, of uncertainty. Let our lives be peaceful. Let our lives be whole. Those of us who believe in peace should work towards that end. Let us never forget that the very impulse of that movement is in the silent contemplation, the prayerful meditation, the sincere expectancy in our minds. Are we ready for peace? Great question, Ernie. Great question. Are we ready for peace? I am. Are you ready for peace? What I'd love to do this morning is start our time together in prayer, praying for our president and his wife, Melania, and Donald Trump, who have tested positive for coronavirus, for others in the Republican Party, for those in the Democratic Party that are suffering with the coronavirus, for independents, Green Party, libertarians, for people everywhere afflicted not only by coronavirus, but by this contagion of fear, the contagion of hatred, of anger. Let us begin anew today, this day. Let us seek a higher calling. Let us seek the wisdom of spirit. So join me in knowing that we really do live and move and have our being in a loving and supportive universe. I lean into that now. I lean into the awareness that there's really only one thing happening. The Divine One coming into form by means of each one of us. What a sacred task to live this life in that awareness that it is spiritual, that it is sacred, that there is a power and a presence that we can lean into and use for greater ideals such as love, peace, unity, joy, prosperity. And knowing these qualities for all, I include Donald and Melania Trump. I include everyone recently and in the past affected by COVID. I include everyone affected by fears and worries and mistrust and anger and hatred. And I include everyone whose heart and mind is open to that healing presence, to the revealing of our truth as individuals, as a collective, as a nation, as humanity, seeking to express its spiritual magnificence. In this moment, I know each one of us are informed at a greater level than ever before of our unity with Source, of the energy of goodness, of the energy of truth, of the energy of a higher calling, of love, of peace, of a unity and an interconnectedness through all life that calls us into its alignment so that every thought, every word, every deed is from that place of truth, of that place of wholeness, goodness. I accept this truth. I believe in it. I believe in the power of my thought, and I believe in the power of this word, and I believe in the power of where one or more are gathered. So I accept this truth. I accept this glory. I accept this good for the good of all. And so it is. I'm going to invite Bobby in here now to give us a little folk song.
Thank you, Theresa. Thank you for that prayer. Thank you for the release of all unnecessary suffering. We're opening up today with "This Land Is Your Land," a Woody Guthrie song. I know you've heard it before. It seems to be he's communicating with Spirit about visioning. And we slipped an extra verse in there that's also specifically about visioning, which is what we're doing today. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking a ribbon of highway, I saw above me an endless skyway. I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts. And all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. The sun comes shining as I was strolling, the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling. The fog was lifting, a voice came chanting. This land was made for you and me. I look for a vision for my great nation. I walk with Spirit, listening to hear it. I ask for guidance for what is mine to do. This land was made for you and me. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
I love that. I love that. Bobby and I were literally walking on the beach, and he said, "What do you think we should sing? What do you think we should do for Sunday?" And I started singing that song without knowing all the verses and without knowing how he was talking about his oneness with the earth, the beautiful America, and listening for it. Wow. So that's what visioning can do. I love visioning. Visioning opens us up to receive, whether we're sitting on the cushion physically doing a visioning process at the moment or we're walking on the beach. We're strengthening our ability to listen and receive that wisdom that's all around us that we are absolutely steeped in and made of. Um, again, like I said earlier, that's what we're doing today, and I just think it's perfect coming off of last week and last month even, and perfect for our contemplative morning. I want to share another quote of Dr. Ernest Holmes that again came from the compilation book, The Essential Ernest Holmes. He said, "The world is perhaps at a point of the greatest crisis in all human history." Huh. I wasn't written yesterday or today. But he goes on to say, so there's two attitudes that we can assume. One is calmness, faith, and conviction, and the other would be despair. And he says, despair is unthinkable. Let each, in their own way, dedicate their time, service, hope, and spiritual conviction to the common cause of liberty and justice for all. And let's work without tiring and pray without ceasing. That's another way for him to say, treat and move your feet, right? And I really want it to be so that CSLCC is doing their part, that this spiritual community, that my ministry in this spiritual community is really doing their part in that. Um, you're going to hear in a few minutes about our global vision for the centers. And so it's not just me thinking this. There's a whole world of people thinking like we do, right? And so today we have what is called the Spiritually Motivated Social Engagement Committee. Spiritually Motivated Social Engagement Committee of the Centers for Spiritual Living. And they are the ones who created this format that I'm working off of this morning. That's a voter's guide or a voting guide to support voters from all our spiritual communities all over the world. And as you know, the Centers for Spiritual Living is a nonprofit religious organization. So we don't endorse any candidates, but we do encourage the application of our science of mind principles, of our vision and our values, which Hector is going to be sharing with you. We encourage you to use those in making your decisions, your daily decisions and your decisions around political concerns, to encourage everyone eligible to vote and to vote prayerfully, to consider each candidate and ballot initiative in the light of this vision and values. So next week, we're going to talk a little more about that, but this morning we're going to be quiet. We're going to get quiet here in a little bit and invite spirit into our conscious awareness. Today, we're going to vision specifically for our beloved country. We're going to vision for our vote. We're going to vision for what is mine to do, what is yours to do. Traditionally, in visioning, we have this section that is, what am I to release? What am I to embrace? And it doesn't matter what we're visioning for. We can be visioning for our country. We can be visioning for the health of the earth or the health of our own body. But there's always something for us to know personally, what it is for us to release, what it is for us to embrace, in order for that vision to come into form. We know that we are not separate from our environment. We're not separate from God. We're not separate from each other. All our work always begins within us. That's Science Mind 101, really. And I've shared about visioning before. I just want to reiterate that I have utilized visioning in my life for many, many years now, a decade or more. I first learned of Michael Bernard Beckwith's process. He calls it a spiritual technology when I was a practitioner student. And in ministerial school, I utilized it so that I had a sense of what was to come. Why was I in ministerial school? What was I going to do with my ministerial license? So that was a visioning topic for me for years. And then we visioned with a group of people right here in our living room as we were forming the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast, and it informed our vision and values. I'm on the Centers for Spiritual Living Vision team, the Global Vision team, which meets monthly, and we vision around global concerns, our different committees, our leaderships, their activities, and that type of thing. And here at our center, at the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast, we vision. I vision with the board, I vision with the practitioners, and we just completed an 8-week visioning class that was open to all of you to take, and we'll do that again. So as you can see, I'm entrenched in it. I love visioning, and I wholeheartedly join Centers for Spiritual Living all over the globe that are recommending that we vision around the political arena right now, around our choices, around the candidates, around casting our ballots, that we review our choices and make peace with our decisions after we've checked in with our spiritual intuition. So we're looking to see what candidates resonate most with our spiritual values. Visioning is a way that we open to the creative intelligence that's within us and all around us. And so we first get still. We first get really anchored and centered in that presence of love and peace, in that awareness of the something that's breathing us that we can trust and rely upon. So we get anchored in its infinite love and wisdom. And then we begin to ask questions and we listen. And typically, these questions are open ended questions, allowing for unknown possibilities to be revealed to us. And then we record them. So I invite you now, if you don't have a piece of paper and a pencil handy, grab one, because you'll want that in a few minutes in a little bit when we do our visioning, because we'll go into the silence. And I want you to know that when something comes to you, no matter what it is, that you're going to write it down, and then you'll be able to close your eyes and go right back into the silence. This morning, the questions are also going to appear on the screen for you so that you can really be more in a meditative space and present with spirit. So just a few visioning tips before we do it. One of the key things is to stay neutral. To stay neutral. I have found for myself, and a lot of people ask these questions, how do you know when you've gotten a hit from spirit or it's your own ego talking to you? For me, it's usually something I didn't want to hear, or it's usually something that I wouldn't have said to myself. I literally have had words come to me that I didn't know what they were, and I looked them up. Or I wasn't real sure of what they were because they weren't words that I normally would use in my vocabulary. So stay tuned to that and avoid judging it, avoid analyzing it or editing it or planning, attaching yourself to it and then planning and controlling and imagining. There's a difference between visioning and visualizing, and they have different places in our teaching. This is not visualizing where you imagine things. This is visioning where you're catching Spirit's vision. So it's a surrendering and an opening, and it's way more passive than visualizing, okay? And so we want to avoid all that controlling and trying to make things happen. And we allow time for ourselves. Now, we do have time constraints here on Sunday morning, but once you get this idea, you can come back to it and do it yourself and ask the questions as you feel ready to move on. And here's another tip. If you find yourself drifting, if you find yourself thinking of stuff not pertaining to the visioning, breathe, breathe. Breathe. Go back to the presence of your breath. Go back to present state awareness. And another trick that you can use, or tip that you can use, is repeat the question. Look at the screen and repeat the question to yourself. Maybe even changing the phrasing so that something comes to you. And then jot it down and close your eyes, go back into the silence. And be patient and trust this process. You might receive insights this morning and you might not. You might receive words. You might have an overwhelming feeling. You might smell something. You might have a sensation in your body. You might see pictures, colors, sounds. It's all accepted, and we want to record, just jot something down, draw a little picture. I had a stick picture the other day when I was visioning with home office. I had a stick figure with a big heart popping out of the stick figure. Trust the vision. Trust the vision to unfold itself and make itself known to you. Look, you can't ever be separated from the source of life, from the wisdom of life, from this divine presence. And so it'll inform you. It'll inform you. I'm just inviting you to lean into that this morning. Raymond Charles Barker, many of you have heard of him, and some of you may know or not know that he began his career as a unity minister, and he met Ernest Holmes shortly into that process, and then he switched over. He became a Science of Mind minister and had an incredible career in New York City. He packed every room that they rented, so he finally was at the Lincoln Center, filling the room at the Lincoln Center, and he authored some 20 books. He said this: all intelligence abides in your subconscious and awaits your call upon it. You may say you don't know what to do, But at the center of your mind is the clear decision that you should make. It's right there. It's always right there. So now we're going to have Hector, who was Hector Muniz, who is a board member. He's on our board here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Cultural Coast. He's a veteran. He's a patriot. He's a dear friend of mine, and he is going to share with you this vision and values of the Centers for Spiritual Living.
Good morning, everyone. Namaste. Theresa, thank you for the nice words. Okay, today's reading. The CSL values at the beginning of this reading are from the Centers for Spiritual Living Organizational Design Model, our guiding document. The global vision is also from those documents and has been printed out and placed on our CSLCC information table since our very first Sunday. You will recognize it. As an international organization, these are our Centers for Spiritual Living values. Accountability, open communication, financial health and prosperity, integrity, love, community service, safety, compassion and caring, spiritual living, diversity and inclusivity, education, transformation and evolution, creativity, continuous improvement. The global vision for Centers for Spiritual Living. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision humanity awakening to the spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life, a world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. We envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. Thank you.
Thank you, Hector. Thank you very much for that. Wow. And Theresa has posted that reading in the comments section if you want to listen to it again or read it again. So we're going to start this visioning process with a chant. This is a chant specifically about visioning. Put the words up as we're doing it and chant along and get yourself in a mellow place and prepare to vision. When I get quiet, I can hear voice of God in my ear. I can see the sights to be, wanting me to set them free. I can feel the pull of heart, leading me to where I start. I open and receive. I move forward and believe. When I get quiet, I can hear the voice of God in my ear. I can see the sights to be, wanting me to set them free. I can feel the pull of heart, leading me to where I start. I open and receive. I move forward and believe. One more time. When I get quiet, I can hear the voice of God in my ear. I can see the sights to see me be, wanting me to set them free. I can feel the pull of heart, leading me to where I start. I open and receive. I move forward and believe. All right, sit back. Prepare to vision.
I'm going to ask you to close your eyes in a moment. But first, I invite you to look around your room. See with gratitude the things that you have created. Things, memories. This is the life you've created. Maybe pictures of important people are up. Just spend a moment and look around. And with love and gratitude, allow your heart and mind to open just a little wider than it was a moment ago. Feeling the love and the gratitude for your life, for this moment. And now I invite you to close your outer eyes and look upon the vastness, the vast possibilities. Surrender into the divine source and substance that is available here and now. It is such an amazing thing. how expansive life becomes when we look with an open heart and an open mind and our inner eye. Here is where the things of life, the stuff of life, the events, the memories, the people, it is from here that it is created. From the invisible, infinite, invisible source and substance of life. Allow again love and gratitude to well up within you for this infinite creativity in which we are immersed in, filled with, surrounded by. Here, in this infinite creativity, resides truth beyond our imagination, unconditional love beyond anything we've experienced. Infinite creativity. Solutions. Answers to problems that we've not even asked. Here, in this vastness, is infinite supply, abundance, prosperity. Again, allow Spirit's presence to fill you to overflowing with love and gratitude. Feel the love and support of the entire universe in this moment as we begin this visioning time. Visioning for our beloved country. We ask the very first question of our visioning session is, what is Spirit's divine idea for the United States of America? What is Spirit's divine idea for the United States? What is its highest possibilities for its leadership and its values? Listen. What is Spirit's highest idea? A divine idea for the leadership of the United States of America, for its values. Seeking greater clarity, we ask, what does that look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? Listen. knowing the presence of the divine is all around us. We are immersed in it, is surrounding us here and now. We ask, what qualities of spirit are seeking to emerge through this vision? What qualities of spirit are seeking to emerge through this vision? And which candidates most closely represent these qualities? Listen. What qualities of spirit are seeking to emerge through this vision? And what candidates most closely represent these qualities? Now again, knowing that this vision already exists in the mind of God, that the guidance, the information is right here, right now. We ask, what is my part in the fulfillment of this vision? What is my part in the fulfillment of this divine idea for the United States of America? What is my part in the fulfillment of this vision? Specifically, I ask, what must I release? What must I let go of? What no longer serves me? This might be an old idea, a way of being, a habit of anger, whatever it is. What must I release in order for this vision to come into fruition? What must I release? And with my arms wide open, my heart and mind open, I ask, what is mine to embrace? What must I embrace in order for this vision to come into form, from the unformed substance into being? What must I embrace in order for this vision to unfold itself in divine right order? With expectancy, knowing this vision, this highest idea of spirits for the United States of America, its qualities, to be expressed in, as, and through this vision, I ask if there's anything else that needs to be known at this time. Is there anything else that needs to be known at this time? With incredible gratitude and an overwhelming sense of love, I release this visioning session, knowing that I am never separate from God's wisdom, from God's guidance, from its love, its good, its peace and harmony. And I'm grateful. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for the insights, for the guidance already received, and for the gifts that are yet to be revealed. I trust the process, the creative process of life. I trust God. I trust myself. And all is well. And so it is.
This place the founders saw, a nation born to lift the lamp at the golden door. I hold a vision for this nation's quality, where every woman, man, and child lives in dignity. To summarize, we see the past and release the deeds we've done. Nothing can stand in the way of an idea whose time has come. We are the vision that emerges from on high, a people of integrity, a nation of prosperity, where we fulfill our destiny, where none are bound and all are free, where every woman, man, and child lives in liberty. Oh, freedom, sweet freedom, here and now. That song's called Vision for the Nation by David Washington. I know you had one.
And it was beautiful, too.
Oh.
Thank you. Yes, I know you had one, too. Thank you for doing that with us. I think that is that's important work for us to be doing right now. I think. I want to share another quote of Dr. Ernest Holmes. This one's from Creative Living, his book Creative Living, as we move into our time of giving. He says there can be no problem that cannot be solved unless we assume that the divine intelligence does not know what it's doing. You think that? No, I don't think that. Do you think that? I don't. But we must realize that every human problem, whether it is personal or the problem of the survival of civilization, is not a problem that cannot be solved, but merely one that has not been solved yet because it has not been properly presented to the intelligence that knows everything. So you've done good work here today. You have done beautiful work this morning, and I thank you for that. I thank you for that. And now as we do move prayerfully into our time of giving, I would ask you to reflect upon this ministry, this spiritual community, your involvement in it, how you can best support it. And I would also ask you to include in your prayers the financial support of this ministry so that we can continue to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, so we can continue to share these science of mind, universal spiritual principles and practices. We are all co-creating a world that works for everyone, and we do it together, and we must do it together. No one person can do it alone. So at this time, Evan, our lovely Vanna White, Evan Schulte, is putting up on the screen the ways that you can give, mailing a check or using Breeze or PayPal or any one of those kinds of technologies. If you're watching us on YouTube, that information is available at the top, also at the directions. And she's also going to post the Ernest Holmes affirmation of abundance. And I'm going to ask that we read that together. I don't know when you're ready to start reading it. So I'm just going to jump in, but I'm going to feel that connectedness with you as we read this out loud and add the power of our intention and the power of our belief to our words to create the reality, not just for ourselves of abundance, but for this community, for this spiritual center, for our country, for all people everywhere around the globe. Good and more good is mine.
An ever-increasing good is mine.
There is no limit to the good which is mine.
Everywhere I go, I see this good, I feel it, I experience it.
It crowds itself against me, flows through me, and expresses itself in me, and multiplies itself around me.
I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. Once more. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Thank you. Thank you for singing with us. Want to remind you, I opened up with talking about on November 15th, we're going to have our annual meeting, membership meeting. Friends are certainly welcome. You don't have to be technically a member to join in. That's going to be November 15th. That's a Sunday morning. We're going to do it at 12:30 after the service, give you like a half an hour break so you can grab something to eat or whatever. and we'll do it on Zoom. And I look forward to seeing everybody because we'll be on Zoom. We'll be able to actually see each other, which will be great fun. And, we've been doing that every Sunday morning. I send out a link, and it's also in our email that comes out weekly so that you can do it on Sunday mornings if you just want to pop in and say hi, or you want to talk about the message of the day, that kind of thing. And I've really been enjoying that. That's been really nice.
And today we might even talk a little bit about what came up in visioning.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. If you could share what came to you in visioning, that's normally what you do in visioning is then there's a period of time where we get an overall sense of collectively what came through. Just a little, first, if you want to receive our weekly emails and you're not getting them, go to our website. That's CSLCulturalCoast.org and scroll down to the bottom and there's a place to sign up and we'll get you on that list. And then that way you know all the things that are coming up. The link for that Sunday meeting will be there and that type of thing. Just wanted to tell you before I leave the screen, I'll post the Zoom link for this morning. And just a few minutes after 12, we'll meet and let's talk about what came to you in the visioning. But also this afternoon at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be interviewed by my good buddy, Reverend Cindy Grimes at the Center for Spiritual Living in Ocala. We're doing that on Zoom. Actually, she does a live feed just like we do through StreamYard to YouTube and Facebook. So I'll post that. I'll share that on our Facebook page this afternoon too. So if you guys want to join in on that, you certainly may. We're going to be talking about living your spiritual principles 24/7 kind of thing. Anyway, I love you and thank you so much for being with us this morning and doing this really good, important work. And I love you. And
I love you.
See you all in a little bit.
I love you all. Thank you all for being part of this today. Don't forget, if you'd like prayer support, prayer at CSLCulturalCoast.org, or if you have a story of prayer working in your life, send it to the same email address. We'd love to hear about it. So we're going to close again with I Release. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide, and I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God. There was a time in my life thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. I am only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide, and I am only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God.